My name is DJ, and I'm currently the youth and young adults pastor here at Trinity Church. And when I was growing up, I've always been a pastor's kid. I'm currently a pastor's kid. And I remember growing up, I always thought about being a pastor meant that writing an essay every single week. And I've always been a math guy. I've never been an English guy. So the idea of writing an essay every single week just sounded terrible to me. And so as I was growing up, the subjects that I really liked were like math. And so in college, I pursued engineering and then mathematics and then economics. And I remember asking my dad, because he would always push me to do the things that I wanted to do, not necessarily put any sort of agenda on me. And I remember one time I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, how come you don't push me to be a pastor and preach?" And he said, "Well, first of all, DJ, I want to push you to what God has planned for you, not what I have for you." And the second thing he says is, he goes, "DJ," he says, no matter if you're a teacher, no matter if you're a mathematician or if you're an engineer, whatever that is, he goes, you're always going to preach, no matter where you are." And that always has sunk in with me, because I think even now that I actually do stand on stages and preach to several or more people than other people would, I guess, the message that I have to preach is no more or less important than any other believer would preach, right? And for me, the best experiences that I ever have preaching is more one-on-one than it ever will be on a stage. On a stage, it's not, there's no dialogue. It's me talking to a bunch of people. But when it comes to one-on-one, it's more of a conversation. It's more about me sharing my story. And so I think for all of us as believers that we have a responsibility to share what God has given us. And you say, "DJ, I don't know what would I say to people, what I tell people." Well, if you're a believer, we all have good news to share with people, that we have a testimony where God's brought us from, that you were blind, now you can see. And so that we were lost and now we're found. And so I think it's just important for all of us to practice that we're constantly speaking life and not death over people, speaking hope and faith and not destruction and hurt over people, because really we have a message to give and we can make a difference. So I think God's calling us all to be preachers, so to speak. And so I think that you can really make a big difference with the area that you have. I know I have in my personal life. It's really made a difference when I step out in faith and do what God has called me to do. But I feel like God has called all of us to be preachers. And I think it's really going to make a difference in changing the world to where God's called it to be.